thanks everybody. Welcome to the breakout session on sustainability from intention to execution. My name is Bill Carter-Giannini. I am co-founder and CTO of Ronin Product Development Labs. Today we have with us Dan Kennedy, a studio principal and partner at Ronin Product Development Labs. Nichole Rouillac, founder and creative director at Level, a West Coast women-led industrial design consultancy. And Kyle Wiens, the CEO and co-founder of iFixit. Welcome, Kyle. All right. Let me go through, just to get things started, some brief introductions, overview of the people we have today on the call. So a little bit about myself, founding Ronin Product Development, where we have an overarching goal to be a leader in product development focused on improving the lives of people and health of the planet. And to that end, we've built a team of really passionate experts who don't just work with clients, but spend a lot of time investing in development framework, networks, manufacturing materials and processes, and sharing the mission to have a larger impact globally. At Ronin, we have 4 pillars that guide all of our activities: direct, professional, inclusive, and kind. And our intent is to live by these principles on and off the court. Dan Kennedy is one of the studio principals at Ronin, and he's located in San Francisco. Dan's got over 20 years of product development experience and is driven by a strong passion for creative collaboration. He leads Ronin's sustainable design team, whose focus is on developing circular economy solutions for a diverse range of clients in areas including consumer electronics, waste stream recovery, and renewable energy. Thanks, Dan. Nichole. Hello, Nichole. Nichole Rouillac is founder and creative director at Level. Her expertise is in taking complex, innovative technologies and shaping them into products that foster emotional connections between consumers and brands. Her proficiency with the requirements of manufacturing means production feasibility is considered from first sketches. And Level's portfolio encompasses from startups to the likes of Microsoft and Google, and Nichole's work, including that for Fitbit, HTC, AliveCore, and Tempo, has created new industry categories, propelling products into the global spotlight. Cool thing, Level was listed as the #3 in Fast Company's most innovative design companies of 2021. Congratulations, Nichole. That is amazing. And yeah, super cool. And they've garnered wide recognition at Level from IDA in winning awards such as IDA Gold, Red Dot, IF, and Spark Platinum. Welcome, Nichole.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and our final member of the panel today is Kyle Wiens, who most of you know or know of through a CEO and co-founder of iFixit. Kyle is located in the mid-California coastline when he's not traveling all over the planet. And Kyle, I stole some of this from your personal bio. And so Kyle believes that technology will make life on Earth dramatically better if we do the right things and take care of the right things. His writing has appeared in The Atlantic, Harvard Business Review, Wired, Popular Mechanics, and the Wall Street Journal. He's a frequent speaker on design for repair, service documentation, and the environmental impact of manufacturing. His background is in computer science, but over the course of writing these popular teardowns that we all know and love, and researching e-waste for 15 years, he's been able to work with and learn from experts in all aspects of product development and execution. And on the policy side of things, Kyle has been instrumental in helping to re-legalize cell phone unlocking and secure DMCA exemptions, legalizing tractor repair and tablet jailbreaking. Welcome to the panel, Kyle.
That's me. Excited to be here. And I have you hot off the presses. I've got the brand new Samsungs.
Excellent. All right. Well, at this point, I'm going to hand things over to start with Dan, and we'll move through individual presentations from each of the 3 panelists.
All right. Thanks, Bill. Right, so welcome to this session. We titled this session Sustainability from Intention to Execution because we all arrive here today with some intention to make the world a better place, for ourselves, for future generations. But how do we convert that intention into action? And that's really the focus of this panel. So at Ronin, our intentions with our practice are to learn, to explore, experiment, and to share. And when we kick off a project, we start by asking this very important question: does this product deserve to exist? And that's a really subjective question and has triggered a very dynamic conversation within the Ronin team. But I've been really impressed with how quickly we converge on an answer. So once we've all agreed that, yeah, this product deserves to exist and we want to collectively apply our creative energy to make it a reality, then we follow this sustainable product development process that we've put together. It looks very common, like from defining concepts or defining the targets all the way through to verification and manufacturing. But we've added a few steps here. And today we want to focus on the early stages of development, because that's where the bulk of a product's environmental impact is decided. So we need to make informed decisions. So we use life cycle assessment for that purpose. So LCA is a method for quantifying the environmental impacts of a product. And we do this in the early stages at a very high level. So we're looking at order of magnitude assessments here. And we're really doing this at this early stage to highlight the areas where can we focus our efforts to reduce the environmental impact. We also like to use LCA as a comparison between, say, concept A and concept B, in service of a down selection process. We need to somehow quantify these impacts, and there are a number of databases in existence for that. We use the Equalizer database for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's free. That's a great reason. And it's publicly available from venturewell.org, which, by the way, is a phenomenal resource for sustainable design methodologies. I highly recommend it. But we also like Equalizer because it gives a holistic picture. It's not just looking at carbon emissions or ecosystems, it's also looking at human health and resource availability. So as a result, the values are reported not in kilograms of carbon dioxide, but in units called millipoints. Now, there are 4 stages of LCA, and the total score simply sums up the results from the impacts of these 4 stages. So that's manufacturing, transportation, energy over the life of the product, and then the end of life considerations. So will it be recycled? Will it be landfilled, etc. And here's a glimpse of our tool that we use to do all this math. It's a very nice tool called a spreadsheet. You may have heard of it, and also free. So we have actually digitized most of our Equalizer data into this raw database tab. So all of the calculations can be done automatically. The foundations for our tool is actually a bill of materials. Okay, every product requires a bill of materials. And in a bill of materials, every line item captures each component. It specifies the material, the process, and the mass for each component. And once you have material, process, and mass, you have all the information you need to perform a life cycle assessment for the manufacturing portion. So when I come over here to the LCA tab, boom, this is already automatically populated with data. I didn't have to lift a finger. All I have to do is go down and add in transportation and energy usage and end-of-life impacts. So the takeaway here is, if you've got a bill of materials, you're very close to having an LCA. You simply need to come over here and add a few pieces of information, and you're done. This is a summary tab that breaks down, all the components in the product. We can quickly identify where are the areas that we want to focus our efforts. And we can also focus on the stage. So over here, we have production, materials, and manufacturing. But for this product, and this is a food waste recycling appliance for one of our clients, Clue. And we quickly found, using this LCA, that energy usage was the greatest area of opportunity for us to reduce the impact of the product. In fact, energy usage contributes at least 60% to the overall impact of the product. So obviously we had to make energy usage reduction our top priority. And so that's what we focused on. From the first prototype to the second, we made some design decisions to reduce and cut that energy usage in half. And then in our third prototype, which is forthcoming, actually is right over there on the table in process, we think we're gonna cut the energy usage in half again. So this is all a takeaway from our LCA. Here's another case study. So using the same LCA or a similar one, this is actually really looking primarily at manufacturing context. And this is a product that incorporates a 17-inch display, among other things. And we made reasonable assumptions or educated guesses as to what else would be there in the absence of all the detail that would normally be required. So this is, again, high-level LCA. And what we learned was that 90%, a full 90% of the impact of this product was attributed to the 17-inch LCD screen. And that was pretty shocking to us. And we probed this a little further and discovered, yeah, LCD screens have a very high energy usage during production, and they typically use a very potent greenhouse gas in their production, and that is nitrogen trifluoride. It's 17,000 times more potent than CO2. So huge impact with a screen. So what's the takeaway here? Okay, well, we can ask, well, what if as a default user interface for all our products, and this one included, what if we eliminated the screen altogether and instead use the screen in our own pocket? That's the smartphone or a tablet. So a lot of us, we probably have a smartphone or a tablet lying around. Couldn't that be used for the user interface for all manner of products? And that way, not only can we, address the bottom line and eliminate the cost of the screen, but there's also the huge benefit of reducing the overall impact of that screen on the environment. So, these are some of our takeaways. We'd love to hear about some of yours, and we want to continue the conversation. So what we'd like to do is share out the tool that we showed you in this presentation, probably Q2 of this year. So if you are interested, please let us know, send us an email. We will send you the tool. It's a simple Google spreadsheet, and we'd love to hear about how it's come in handy for you. So that's it from me, Bill. Back to you.
Great. Thank you, Dan. If anyone has questions, please go ahead and on the right-hand side of your screen, chat polls people, there's a Q&A. Please go ahead and add your questions in there. And after all the presenters are completed today, we'll go through those questions and ask them directly of the presenters. Okay. Next up is Nichole.
Okay, everyone can see my presentation.
Hey, Nichole, actually, I see your notes on top of it. Could those be moved?
Okay.
Perfect. Oh.
Is that working?
Maybe you do a...
No way. Hold on, sorry guys.
Nope.
There we go. That's
working?
That's getting there. Yes.
All right.
Perfect.
Excellent. All right. So I'm Nichole, founder and creative director at Level Design in San Francisco. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do. So as an industrial design studio, we create hardware products. So we take products from sketch to production, collaborating with clients that are on a mission to make a positive impact to the world by creating something that's simple and highly functional and improves people's lives and that of society. So we are often bringing world's first of its kind products to market. So I've worked in the early days of, designing the very first Fitbit to some of the first Android and Windows phones that were deployed to the world, and AR, VR right now in a lot of in-home fitness. So we realize that our role in the system of making consumer products is huge. And I'm here to talk about what we're doing to do that in a better and more sustainable way. And, as we move forward, I think it's important to take a step and look backwards as we're discussing sustainability, we need to acknowledge what got us here so we can understand how to make a difference moving forward. And I thought it was just really eye-opening, unbelievable when I saw this throwaway living article in Life magazine from 1955. And, you know, it's things like this that set us on a path to destroying our planet and our habitat. It was at a time when plastic was still novel and celebrated, and no one was really thinking about, you know, where the material was going or how bad it was for the environment, or the fact that it would take thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of years for these things to degrade in landfills. And, you know, life then was all about creating convenience, and that convenience is what's killing us. So it's beyond time for those of us who have played a role in influencing and being a part of this disposable lifestyle to really step up and take responsibility to make change for the better. And if anything, it was my daughter's artwork, you know, years ago that kind of compelled me into action. At the age of 4, when children should be you know, creating art that is inspiring because of their love of animals and beaches and oceans. She used her school art to depict piles of trash in the ocean. And, you know, this is literally their future and not what I want to be a part of creating any longer. I'm just so inspired by these young generations of activists at the, you know, I know we must find a better way. As Greta Thunberg said, I'm sorry, but saying everything will be all right while continuing to do nothing at all, it is just not hopeful to any of us. So I'm here to help make a difference because I believe designers have gotten incredibly good at making beautiful and desirable products that people lust over. We have mesmerized audiences as we celebrate the complexity of manufacturing processes. We watch in awe as teams of designers show how they've learned to fuse materials together in different ways, combining plastics and metals and rubbers to create products that are seamless, that appear to be impossible to make, like a ship in a bottle. But by doing so, we've created something that is absolutely impossible to disassemble, impossible to repair, really unbelievably challenging to recycle. And it uses massive amounts of energy between mining, manufacturing, and shipping. It's so much consumption and waste. So designers have a huge responsibility in creating this. And just as we can have influenced people to love, we can influence people in new ways and set out on a mission to consider products with sustainability at the forefront. And I see knowledge as power. I spent a ton of time in Asia making products, understanding what it takes to bring a product into the world. And I'm not going to pretend that I haven't been a contributor to this climate crisis. We all have. And I believe and feel compelled to use my knowledge and experience to make things in better ways. As a design leader, I want to shift the needle in the right direction and, you know, let that knowledge and understanding be used to make a difference and to make a better future. So as I look at how do we make this difference, and, you know, how do we change the way that we look at design and set out to create products? And I think the most important is to look at how we rewrite the principles of industrial design. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Dieter Bromsey, or we often call him the godfather of design. You know, spent 35 years at Braun, bringing over 500 beautifully designed products to the world. And he is definitely somebody that I still look up to. His principles of good design are kind of used as the 10 commandments for designers as we're creating products, and really known throughout the industry. And I definitely still think that there's a lot of, you know, valid points to his principles. But I do think in light of the climate crisis that we're experiencing, that we might need to look at reprioritizing and shifting these. As we see, number 9 here is good design is environmentally friendly. And that's great to say, but I think we need to kind of expand on that and really dig into what it means to be environmentally friendly. How do we create new principles that really define that and help both consumers and people creating products to do a better job. So I believe first and foremost, we need to learn and educate. We need to learn how to make better decisions as we're creating products, and also to be able to provide transparency to consumers, because consumers actually want to make better decisions, but they feel uninformed and they don't really know, how impactful these buying decisions are on the environment, because none of this information is transparent. But I believe that life cycle analysis, like Dan just presented, is an invaluable tool to help us and to help consumers understand a product's journey from manufacturing all the way to the end of life. How much carbon is produced, how much material is used, what are the byproducts that are released into the water and the environment? Can it be fixed? What's the end of life? So educating ourselves and more impactful in a better way. Number two, we need modularity. It's no longer okay to just reskin an existing product with a nicer recycled material. We actually need to get down to the core of the product. Modular design, like we see in Fairphone, studies estimate that it's a 30% reduction in global warming potential across the entire life cycle of this product. So imagine if every phone, every computer, every mouse, keyboard, and tech product that we touch applied similar principles of modularity, what a difference we could make. And also, we do need to, avoid the Petri dish. This is a quote that came from a good friend and material expert of mine, Lauren Bernard. What we're trying to avoid is that greenwashing that happens to designers, in our own industry, being inspired by these new and kind of exotic green materials that don't necessarily always solve problems. Lauren said that there's a competition out there almost where it's like, who can create the coolest looking samples of material, and then it blows up on the internet. But you think about the coolness and, what are we going to do with these materials? How do we know what the end of life is? Are they actually making things better? So not just getting oohed and awed by these beautiful samples, but how do we actually dig deep into products and not just make something for the sake of using a new material? And we do also really need to minimize waste. I think a company that has that at their heart and is doing an excellent job is Rothy's here. Rothy's uses a great material. The shoe that they create is made out of recycled marine plastic, and they're 3D knit, which means each pair and patterns and processes reduce the fabric waste. More than 80% of the carbon footprint comes from materials and manufacturing alone. The apparel production facilities often leave an average of 30% excess waste on cutting room floors. The Rothy's is already incredibly unique in its whole brand approach for zero waste production and fulfillment practices. Rothy's has proven that sustainability can be good for a brand, and it's also been very strong for their bottom line. But what a lot of people may not know about Rothy's that makes them incredibly unique in this world is that they also own their whole supply chain. And doing that, it is a new model that makes it possible to react to demand and bring new products to market quickly. But it also makes it possible to integrate sustainability throughout the entire company, from limiting overproduction, which is often costly and wasteful, to creating efficient production processes. Rothy's has been successful in doing this and demonstrating an example of how to be a better model in the apparel industry. And I'd love to see this kind of thinking play out more in the world of technology. So, next, I think that we need to be able to shift consumer perception. Designers can inspire consumers to view design through a new lens, just as we have seen a shift in packaging where in former times it was all about the glossy prints and magnets and foils and kind of excess in packaging that made it impossible to recycle. But now it's become cool again to kind of show off the humble cardboard in its natural state, making it actually highly recyclable. If we can make these shifts in packaging, I think we can make these shifts in technology products as well. Then we need circularity. I think getting that industry inertia so that more and more companies go into a circular economy is going to be crucial to creating a better and more sustainable world. Rothy's, as I mentioned, showed us a great example of how sustainability can be good for bottom line, and they are early to step up and claim that they will have a fully circular production cycle by 2023. So I believe as designers, we can pave a new way to circularity and influence, how people are choosing to buy products and use products and send products back, because there is no planet B. If we want a livable world in our future for future generations, we must commit to building better. As I end with a quote from John Muir, from the home office where I wrote this book, not far from San Francisco, I've looked over the hills and seen the bright orange skies of wildfires and signposts of drought and devastation. They've devoured millions of acres of forests each year in California alone, spitting back more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than all states' emissions from fossil fuels. It is the most vicious of circles, and I cannot stand idly by. Whatever my flaws as a messenger, I'm impelled to act. Having lived through visible devastation caused by climate change, like this orange day in San Francisco, I am absolutely compelled to act and hope you'll join me in this journey.
Excellent. Thank you, Nichole.
You're welcome.
All right. Kyle, we have just a few minutes left, so sorry to put you in the hot seat here.
You want me to? I can just talk for like 3 minutes and we can take some questions.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, I have a whole PowerPoint. I can skip that. I've got some hardware here. So I'm here in iFixit's video lab, and I thought we could make this a little bit more dynamic. So this is our testing lab. This is where the magic happens, and we take everything apart. So we just wrapped up our Samsung Galaxy teardowns. Here is a Galaxy S22. I'm sure they intended for people to experience them intact, but they're not intact anymore. And then here's the new Note, and you've got some fun gizmos here. So this is the periscope. It didn't even have to get a submarine to get a periscope, and so that's kind of a fun new technique. If you haven't seen, so this is probably the most expensive panel available for a smartphone. This is your curved OLED. I don't know if you can see kind of the curved edge. And then note the fingerprint sensor integrated into the OLED. So I want to know, like, how many hundreds of millions of dollars of engineering was it to figure out how to put that fingerprint sensor there. And then I've also I've got the case, which, from a mechanical perspective, what Samsung does with the stylus is pretty fun. We don't get a whole lot of mechanically interesting stuff. Anyway, this is iFixit. Well, iFixit. If you come hang out with me or work with us like Dan does, you'll get to see all kinds of cool stuff. But I'm not going to get to give you a whole spiel because we're close to out of time. One other thing I want to show you. So Nichole was just talking about everything Nichole said. I agree. And second, so a company that is doing it right. So this is the brand new Framework laptop. If you are buying your employees MacBook Pros, stop it. Stop doing that. They are glued together abominations. I realize Apple is the shit. All of us designers use Apple products. You need to stop. We have to stop giving them money for these products with glued in batteries that will not last. I put a hard line in the sand. I said, I'm not buying any new MacBooks for my employees. And everybody freaked out. Nobody likes it. We all want the new Apple stuff, but it's not ethical. You cannot be handing people a piece of product with a glued-in battery and say, then we want you to go and make the world better when you're handing them a tool that's not ethical. This is ethical. Look at this. We got modular ports on it, and I can pop out. And no, I'm not going to guilt trip everybody on this call who's looking at this on a MacBook right now. But look, I have a USB-A port on a laptop that I bought in 2022. What are the odds of that, right? All of these ports are modular. And then I've got the front panel of this thing. So if you've ever tried to change the display on a laptop, I left my laptop on the hood of a car. drove away, and the laptop was fine. The screen was toast. So if you want to swap out the screen, look, this bezel is magneted on. It just comes off. How cool is that? There, I can get it to the LCD. So this is like in practice, all the theory that Nichole was talking about. You can do it. You can be better. I believe in you. Go make it happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Kyle. That was really fun seeing around your lab. Thanks for giving everybody the view there.
The laptop comes with the screwdriver. Look at this.
That's excellent. It's fantastic. We
Only one screwdriver?
Only one. That's all you need. It has a Phillips #0 and a Torx T5, and then a pry tool. And those are the only tools you need.
I saw how many screwdrivers it took to replace the battery on an iPhone.
Yeah, this is my normal screwdriver kit, right? So what would you rather? This is like Apple's design approach. This is the framework design approach.
Great. Well, everyone, thank you so much for all of your topics today. Please go for all the presenters. There are some questions in the Q&A. We don't have time to go through it because we're 1 minute over already. Please go through and reply if you can. I think the one question that we might want to answer is there advice for individual engineers who want to introduce these ideas at their company? How do we have an impact? How do we help them have an impact with their larger management teams who aren't yet taking this into account? Any quick responses there, Kyle?
I mean, so I would say start somewhere practical. Start with a pilot project. Start with a piece of it, or better yet, like do something that's the right thing and sneak it in, and don't tell them why you're doing it, and then show the business ROI, and then you can go back afterwards. But like you can always sneak in repairable design. Don't tell them that's why you did it. Just like that's the new design, right? And then but I would say in terms of how we've worked, we tend to go in with a company. We've had good success. We'll do repair assessments, so we'll come in and we'll help you kind of create an independent assessment. One thing, like the power of consultants. So all of us here are consultants. The cool thing about a consultant is you can pay us to come in and tell everyone else what you already know, and people will listen to us because we're not you.
It's great advice, Kyle. I think it's also not being afraid to have a voice and opinion, because the other option is that the earth is going to be destroyed. So it's not really a good other choice. So go in there with a strong voice. Don't be afraid and make it happen. And there are lots of studies, depending on what you're doing, that you can kind of prove that sustainability is actually better for their budget.
And make it personal. Make it, bring your passion, because that's what people are going to respond to ultimately.
Great.
But there's a financial case, there's a environmental LCA case, there's a user experience argument for this. So you will win on the merits with your argument. Just take the time to develop it.
Yeah. And the fact that consumers these days are heavily influenced in buying products that have a sustainable mission. So it also is going to, in the end, help with your sales and your brand.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And thanks for going over, everybody. I think, the overarching point is it doesn't have to be, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to, light the sky on fire or, do all 100 things all at the same time. Start small. Whatever size your organization is, you can have an impact. Dan has listed out here for those who want the LCA tool in the Q&A section. There is an email address, inquiries@roninpdlabs.com. You can reach out to, and Dan will provide that to you. Again, thank you to all of our presenters today. One final comment: in just 1 minute, the next set of breakouts will begin. So please click on the breakout tab on your left-hand side, and you can choose between the instrumental data correlations, solving unsolvable problems, or how to attract the next workforce with automation and robotics. Thank you all very much.
They replaced us with a robot.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.